gesamte Angebote von Immobilien. Endstellen, Anzahl von Wohnungen in Franken oder Perioden verstärkende Lama können die verschiedenen Mandantinnen machen.
Ups, Scheiße, das gell?
Ja, ja. So, jetzt sind anders, gell, die anderen.
Dapat naman naglalaro.
Hey, kom even mee. Kijk hoe dadelijk daar.
Doe hem op de boeg, toch? Fanag. Ito. Ano mo, iba pang klaseng rose. Ganda eh, makuha ng anak mo yan. Different kinds of roses. Diba? Ito marami sa akin. Copy talaga tayo. Shopping na naman tayo. Gusto ko yun.
Ja, für auch viel Geld kostet, aber ist schon gut. Finde ich ehrlich gesagt. Ich wollte ja am Mittag irgendwo in Nanay wollte ich etwas kaufen, am Abend Kaffee vom Halloween.
Here is spaghetti salad.
Rollen muss man nicht geben, aber der andere
Das hat er mir jetzt erzählt.
Ja, auch nicht geben.
Nein,
Das schon.
letzte Woche
Ja.
Are they California raisins? Rancho. Everything is fine now. It must be worked out. Oh, vineyard.
Ticket na tayo.
But I counted -5. Do you have a ticket? I know. Do you have a ticket? No, I mean I had 5 on the code. Say 40 minutes.
Here, the small road along the lake used to be the main road between France and Italy. 1536, the castle was taken over by the people from Bern, the Bernese, and they stayed here up to 1798. Since then, it belongs to the state. But most of what you'll see today is 13th century, except this building. Over here, they used to have the stables, but the first part of the castle, it's the lowest part of the island, was destroyed by an earthquake.
Sorry. You take it for less.
Because later on they built the lower ceiling to get a better heat, but they left an exact bookkeeping so we could restore like it was in these days. They always painted their walls grey, white or red and white, but this was only the ground painting. For each facilities they had different tapestries and draperies on the walls. Now it's a museum. Here's a beautiful musket, early 17th century. This is the support. So this wasn't a fighting arm because it needs 2 men to carry this around. This was only for sport and games. The original door locks and keys of the Bernese time, that means about 250 years old. We had to take them out of the doors, one after the other, was screwed off and stolen.
What is it?
The weddings on the horses in the 15th century it weighs only about 10 pounds. But when they fell down the horse, they needed at least 2 men to sit in bed. They used to be between 600 and 800. That's why they built very large rooms. In these days, they had 40 bedrooms, but they're now turned into apartments or to workshops for the people taking care of the castle. And like this was built as a summer residence. The crossbow is the tender. On the picture you can see how the tender is used. The two-hand sword on the bow. This was called the curtain courtyard. Here everything was for defense. This used to be the main defending wall of the island before they built the castle, and in these days the moat, the water was down here. But after they built the residence, they added a chapel, and for more security, they made the second wall at the year 12 defending part because of the fire. There is a fire engine back there, but later...
Fire engine.
No problem.
The countries or most other democracies where you vote for somebody who's got a fair system. In small countries, I mean, like Switzerland, it works. I don't know any other country where they actually still have that. It seems to be fair. It is, can argue if it is or not. A lot of people are not interested in that. In this referendum, you can say that it's their fault if they don't go. You know, if it comes to tolls and this kind of thing, you may have 20 or 30% of those entitled to vote actually going and make a decision. Okay, that's their fault. But you know what's really difficult is to find a compromise or something for minorities. The position of minorities in Switzerland is hopeless almost. Because of the referendum, it's always yes or no. And it's always the majority deciding what's supposed to be done. So to find a compromise for minorities is extremely difficult, and shouldn't say maybe impossible, but very also the smallest, and which gave the name to the whole lake. It's a very elegant town with a lot of parks. Altogether, 23 parks, all given to the city of Geneva by rich bankers. It's next to Zurich, the most important financial center of the country. And I think we connect Geneva with a lot of international institutions, in particular the United Nations and the look at the beautiful homes here, and with the International Red Cross. After all, the Red Cross was founded here in 1859. We have the GATT building on our left-hand side, GATT General Agreement, Tariff and Trade, that's the building on the left. And we are going now up to the Palace of the Nations. That was actually built for the League of the Nations. You know, we used that as a monument symbolizing the 4 main races of the world. This park we see on the right is one of the 23 parks given to Geneva. This park was given to Geneva under 3 conditions. No buildings in there. Public should have free access. And the peacocks should be fed. You see how people stick to last wills. Public doesn't have free access to the park. There are buildings inside, but they feed the peacocks. It's the only thing they still stick to. So here now on the right we will see another entrance. The blue building is the International on the left. This building is dating back from the 20s. You see the flag of the UN, or the blue one. And Switzerland doesn't add anything really to the budget of the United Nations. They just get money from them. Don't you think that's clever? That's very clever. So here now to the left, that's where the Russians are housing. Here, the mission of the Soviet Union. Here, that's a fortress. Scarcely windows in there. And look here now in front of. So here now the other entrance to the Palace of the Nations. Hello, my friends. There we are. CD, corps diplomatique. S'il vous plaît, okay, I'm sorry. I wanted to say s'il vous plaît. It's this CICR, Centre International Croix Rouge, Red Cross. So it was, of course, not a citizen of Geneva decided. It was a man called Henri Dunant, Solferino, that's in the north of Italy, something to do with the unification of Italy. Nobody was looking after the wounded soldiers, so he went back to Geneva and felt something should be done about it. 500,000 or so, but it has not more than 150,000. It has an international cosmopolitan atmosphere because of the international institutions here. It is a city without slums. So all the advantages of a cosmopolitan town, but not the disadvantage. No slums. No slums in Geneva. It's rich, banks everywhere. I think it was Rousseau who said, if you see, he lived here, he was born and lived here in Geneva. He said, if you see a banker jumping out of the window in Geneva, you better do the same thing to at least 5% in it. Roman Catholic town, Geneva is extremely Protestant. You know, it was the home of Calvin in the 16th century. He was born 1509. And he lived here between the 1536 and 64. So he was somehow of a Protestant pope here, and it was some kind of he was some kind of dictator actually. And he resided at the Church of St. Peter's. Close to France, wherever we go, near the YMCA. On the right. They stay in a pretty good hotel, I must say. So there is now, this is on the end of the lake, or where the river Rhone comes out. There's a monument coming up here on the right-hand side, which is quite beautiful to look at. It's the monument of the Duke of Brunswick. You may wonder now what he's doing here. Brunswick is in Germany after all, Braunschweig. All its glory. There he's sitting on horseback, and that's his mausoleum. Look at these beautiful lines, the lines of Brunswick, the city of Brunswick, and the crest you have these lines. So you wonder now how on earth, could the people of Geneva reserve this beautiful location for a German duke? And what do you think made them do that? There's one reason: money. Money. Here's location. We are here at this embankment where I mentioned that when we passed through Montreux, where the Empress Elizabeth or Sisi was murdered. She was murdered here in 1889. She boarded she embarked on one of these ships here we have on the left, and she felt that somebody kicked her. That was all. The most important river of France. We are still in Switzerland. So you see St. Peter's in front of us to the right, this cathedral. That's a Romanesque Gothic cathedral, so that was actually their home. Calvin resided there, his little throne is in this church. And we are now passing the flower clock. We will make a turn because it's here now, but we will come back because it's better visible when we make a turn. This monument is a national monument. Here on the left-hand side, it says Union. Maybe you can read that, Union, which is of course French Union, but it doesn't matter, it's the same. And it symbolizes the union between Geneva and Switzerland. So one woman symbolizes Switzerland and the other one back, but you may try. So the flower clock coming up now is actually the landmark of Geneva, next to the National Monument. Langsam, langsam, lento, lento, lento. You know, it would be good if this light would turn red, you see, that is the problem. So are they celebrating something? 125 years kick? What? Now, 125, now I got it. They celebrate the 125th anniversary of the Red Cross. That's what's written there. 125 years. Red. Now it's red. Now we're lucky. We waited long enough. Now you can take your pictures of these, but when it's green, now we have to go. That's written there in the flowers. Can you see there 125 years? That's That's why they redid it. Now I understand that. You see, it's all been redone. It reads the 125 years International Red Cross after it was founded here. At least something is there. So, I mean, we have more banks here. Arab Bank of Switzerland Limited, Banque Nationale de Paris, Swiss, SA. Anyway, we have plenty of banks. For him, he was too fast this time. That's why we didn't make it. And the largest country in the world, Russia. So even if we exclude the Asian part, Russia is larger than anything else in Europe. So even the second largest country of Europe, that is rather small compared to where you come from. It's about 213,000 square miles. It's twice the size of Britain or West Germany, but nevertheless. Compared where you come from, you know, Quebec, the French-speaking province, not long enough in the country. But if you wonder, if you see it, it is common things, in spite of the fact it is not considered good manners, and that was decided now. So the country is divided into 96 departments. You know that the country is actually highly centralized. All decisions are made in Paris. We don't have here some kind of federation where we have provincial capitals where people have some kind of autonomy that doesn't really exist, except in one case, and that is in Corsica. When Mitterrand became president last time, in 1981, he promised before the elections, he said, if I would be elected, I will allow you to have a local parliament. So only on the island of Corsica, which used to be Italian territory till 1768, there you have a local parliament. There are other parts of France where they're demanding the same rights. We have only one official language in this country, and that is French. But we have different tongues here, you know. We have in Belgium 3 official languages, in Switzerland 4 official languages. Here it's only 1. In the south of France, southwest, the people speak Catalan. They don't speak French. Capital of French Catalonia is Perpignan. Across the border, on the other side, is the capital of whole Catalonia, Barcelona. Though they don't speak Spanish there either. They're very proud. And since Franco is dead, the language is officially recognized. And all the French sides of all is gone. All the Spanish side are gone. Everything is in Catalan. So we have also Catalan on this side. In the northwest, in Brittany, they speak the Gaelic language, the same more or less like in Wales. In the east, northeast, people still some speak Flemish. That's the west part of Flanders. And then in the east part of France, they speak German. And then in the south, the east, particularly on Corsica, speak some Italian dialect. So we have many different tongues in the country. All are not officially recognized, and people in these areas demanding more and more that these languages have enjoy the same rights like French. You know, if it's not some kind of second-class citizen, actually. Even in your own, and of course sent into Paris. Paris doesn't produce any food really. To feed 10 million people, you need a lot of food for that. And we have some industrial centers. The chemical industry is concentrated not too far from here at in them. So you see that here now, toll station. The tolls are much higher than, for example, the United States. I remember driving there around and paying 15 cents, 25 cents, $1. I mean, they wouldn't even be able to enter the motorway here for that money. For the coach, we pay easily 10, 20, 30, $50. That's a very good idea, even if you travel along here. They will give you, in a nutshell, what we grow here, what we see here. That, for example, it's Nantua, which almost sounds like Mantua in Italy, and then it's sometimes written in French. Then the fruit of the Provence, and then you see the shape of apples and pears and pumpkins and cherries, or what they are producing here. Maybe cars, I mean not here, but just to give you an example, which I think is a very good idea. That even with other countries are copying that, by the way. You see, voted for, elected a new government, and this was a conservative government, and they did pretty well. So they started to give the companies back to their former owners. Mitterrand was not happy with that, but he had to accept it. And the trade deficit changed it to a surplus. But you know how people are, or amazingly, they were not. I mean, the situation was improved. The economic situation of France was improved, but not to the satisfaction of everybody. Travel services.
So that's a distinctly different color.
No, one can cross that out. Is that okay? Is that Canadian? Yes. But it's no good. We have to convert that, and we have to make a new one. It's a US dollars.
I asked you and you said...
Yes, but I don't know that you have Canadian funds. I mean, I price everything in US dollars. But you have another one, huh? Personal check, don't you?
English food, that's the steaks, baked potato.
There's a cat,
That makes me happy. Then I work.
The time of Louis XIV, the 15th, when France was governed by an absolute ruler, was considered to be harmful to the nobility, and they were not allowed to drink it. It was the wine for the peasants, for the poor people. So this actually has changed, but it's still an inexpensive wine, and not of the quality. So it's the poorer of the wine we have here in Burgundy. It's the poorer brother of the Burgundy wines. Beaujolais, it's even difficult sometimes to get that in Lyon in better restaurants. If you ask for Beaujolais, they say we don't have it because it's so inexpensive. There's the force de frappe saying hello to us. They're very slow. I wonder maybe where the TGV is. It's late a little. It was at one time an independent country between the North Sea and always reaching the Mediterranean. Dijon is famous for one thing, mustard. So if you come here earlier the year in June, I would say June, everything is blooming here yellow, and that is mustard. When it looks a bit like rape we saw now from time to time. When it's blooming from the distance, there's actually, you can't see the difference except that you know at that time grape is not blooming, but otherwise it looks exactly the same. Burgundy fought with the English against the French during the 100 Years' War. You know, that was of course longer than 100 years, the official dates 1437, 1453. And during that time somebody was born here, and this person is considered to be the national hero of the country, and I think it goes with France, it's a woman, and you all know her by name. Her name is Jeanne d'Arc. She was born here in 1412, Joan of Arc, or Jeanne d'Arc, Joan of Arc. And as a child she came up to her king, Charles VII, and offered him her help, and he was desperate. Any help he could get, he would accept. And she sieged Orléans and finally captured the place, threw the English out, and this is the beginning of a successful rollback campaign. You know that Charles VII never showed any gratitude when she became prisoner of war in 1430, and then she was only 18 years of age. So when she started to fight for her king, she was really half a child, at 20 years of age. When I think of Jeanne d'Arc, I connect her with Ingrid Bergman, because there was a beautiful film that did, I think now it was something like 40 years ago. So I'm sure some of you saw the film. Oh, it's a beautiful film. And no, he was not succeeded by Austria to Vienna, and met there the German Emperor Leopold I and offered him his help. Leopold was desperate. This time it was Turks trying to occupy Austria, and it was a final attempt of the Turks, you know, to actually capture Central Europe. And this young man turned out to be one of the greatest military leaders of all time. His name is Prince Eugene of Savoy. So the niece of Mazarin had married the Duke of Savoy, by the way. Lord Marlborough, the King of France, was defeated. You remember when we were standing in the Grand Place in Brussels, I told you that Louis XIV tried to occupy the whole of Europe. All his life he was fighting wars wherever he could, and when he died, this country, so for sandwiches, you turn to the left. For everything else, salads, soups, whatever, then meat, you turn to the right, you see those people queuing. Okay? So we stop here 1 hour and then we proceed. A protector came back home. So I mean, there was not much time. The friend didn't have any chance to escape, and he was hiding under the bed. So the king, in 1559, something which was old-fashioned then, but he believed in this medieval tournament. The lance broke. The one who caused this fatal accident is actually called Montgomery, so definitely, obviously, ancestor of Field Marshal Montgomery. He left France, he actually fled France. He didn't trust the wife of Henry II. It was Catherine de Medici. And when he had left, you know, he was asked many, many times to come back to France to help her. He was, after all, the best friend of Henry II. So after 10 years, he returned to this country. The very moment he entered France, he was murdered. It was caused by Catherine de Medici. She never forgave him for that. As I just told you, it was not done on purpose. It was truly an accident. Catherine de Medici was an extraordinary person in a negative way. You know, she caused something here which is called Bartholomew's Night in 1572. You know, yeah, a lot of school buses here. Fontainebleau Palace, Fontainebleau, and that was that. Michel is passing, that was that. Bye-bye. Tears, or it's here called Goodbye Court. I actually know it under the name of Court of Tears, because Napoleon said goodbye to his friends. we can take your pictures. So if some people want to go to the lavatory, I am very happy to show you where they are. We would have to walk through the court, through these arches in the other courts. Some people who feel like going to the lavatory. So you wonder now, how long will it take to go to Paris? And that's now very difficult for me to predict, you know, because we have a strike of public transportation. So it may take longer than usually. So if you have the feeling, we may better you follow me and I show you where that is, okay? And I would say we leave here in 20 minutes.
Attends, Yoran, il va prendre.
Dans la mer, on a esterné. Il y a des
Je peux pas chercher une tête. Tu es là? Je vais faire quoi?
If you look in front of us, deeply outlined in the clouds is the Eiffel Tower. Front a little bit to the left. We will get closer now than you can see it. Usually you can overlook the whole of Paris when you come in like that. And that's what they actually is said, that the traffic is quite alright. And that was that. I think it's unbelievable. It's very ordinary up to now. Of course, there's more traffic, people coming out and going in, but we had to expect the worst. And it is, of course, possible also that the underground are running this afternoon again or evening. That you don't know. So this ring road here, the Boulevard Périphérique, was built in the time of Charles de Gaulle. He was actually the President of France, and it may be surprising to hear that the President of France was in charge of the traffic problems, to solve the traffic problems in the capital. The reason is that up to something like 6 years ago, Paris didn't have a mayor. The President of the country was at the same time the mayor of Paris, so this has changed. So about 6 years ago, Jacques Chirac is the mayor of the capital of France, Paris. The oldest part of the Boulevard Périphérique we're using here, and this has only 3 lanes, not able to cope with the traffic. at certain times of the day, and the newer one is 4 on each side, but even that is not sufficient. So what we experience now here is really unbelievable, I must say. You know, on the other side is more traffic, people trying to get out of Paris, going home, and not so many coming in up to now. So something about the public transportation system. And you know, the Paris Metro is world famous, maybe the most famous underground system in the world. It's not the oldest, and it's not also with the largest extension. That is both times London. London is older. The first underground in London was built in 1863, and they had a steam engine. You can imagine what kind of journey that was. There was shafts everywhere to get the steam off. Nevertheless, it was very uncomfortable. But the very moment electricity could be used, this was of course all electrified. We are now we can see the Eiffel Tower here on the right. You see it? So now I think you all believe that we are in Paris. When you see the Eiffel Tower, then you are in Paris. An Eiffel Tower at one time. 70. If you buy 10 tickets at a time, which is called carnet, written C-A-R-N-E-T, you pay only 28 francs 20. So the single ride would be then 282. That is a considerable reduction on the single fare. So one ticket for 70. It's a flat fare everywhere in Paris, not like in London, where you have to tell the people where you want to go. A flat fare wherever you want to go. You can change as often as you like. You can stay on the underground as long as you like. It's all one price. So if you buy 10 tickets, you pay 28.20. So one trip is 282. These tickets are good on the underground and on the buses. I don't mean you can change to a bus, but let's say you buy 10 tickets, ticket number 1 for a bus ride, ticket number 2 for an underground ride, ticket number 3 for an underground ride, ticket number 4 for a bus ride again. So it can be used on the underground. You can change as often as you like. It's one price. When you change from one bus to the other, I'm afraid there's always a new ticket. So if you want to move around a little bit on your own, hoping that there is no strike tomorrow, as far as we know there is nothing, then it's useful to buy 10 tickets. Because our hotel is not right on the underground. One could use the RER system, that is a rapid railway system running under the surface of Paris, but it's much more expensive and quite confusing to get there from the hotel. Even if they have this shuttle bus, I don't know if they're still running, I don't know, but anyway, I would suggest to use the normal Paris public transport system, which would mean that you use the bus which stops just out.
Also the department stores, if you want to have a look, like the Galerie Lafayette. I will explain you all of the things, and after we'll have the departure for the excursion to Versailles at 12 o'clock precisely. Alright, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask it to me. I will answer you. I mean, that's a sort of subway going straight on to La Défense. So here we're going to reach the River Seine to join directly Paris, the center of the city, and we will see first one of the most famous monuments. I mean, that's the Eiffel Tower. Did you make an illumination tour yesterday? Yes. Yeah, so you saw Paris by night. You know that the nickname for Paris is the City of Lights. I hope that you appreciate it. You enjoyed it, yes? Yeah. Alright, so France, you know that France is an important country. That's the second important country for Europe. I mean, just after the USSR for the dimensions. And it counts a population of about 55 million inhabitants. 55 million inhabitants. And you've got an organization, an administrative organization, and France is so divided in 95 different districts. 95 different districts, and each district has got a special number. And you can recognize this number if you pay attention on the cars. You've got the plaque with the different... Recognize at the bottom the Arch of Triomphe, l'Arc de Triomphe, just at the bottom here. That's the beginning. So here we're still in the suburb, and I will tell you the moment when we will get inside Paris, because we will pass just on the Beltway. The Beltway, as I told you, which makes the round of the city. That's just a big highway for the traffic, and this Beltway is about 24 miles long. So very, very important. You've got many gates, you know, when you want to get inside the city from the suburbs to Paris. That's just a reminder, I mean, of the former Roman or medieval gates that you had all around the walls to protect the city from the different invasions. So here in Paris, you've got 52 gates like this surrounding. And we're going to get inside Paris by the Maillot Gate. If you want to pay attention on your map, you can recognize yourself. Maillot Gate. That's totally on the west side. Paris was a city founded around the 7th century BC by a Celtic tribe, and this Celtic tribe was called the Parisii. This has given, of course, the name Paris. And this Celtic tribe settled on a special island, which was the Scilly Island. And during the Roman occupancy, this island has got another name, which was Lutetia, Lutes. And so the Roman came, and you had like this during all the history of Paris, many invasions. So first the Roman around the 1st century BC, then after you had the barbarian invasions, Visigoth, Ostrogoth and so on. That was around the 3rd century after Jesus Christ, and then after you had the Norman invasion around the 9th century after Jesus Christ, you know, with the famous Dukes of Normandy with William the Conqueror. And then once again in the beginning of the Middle Ages you had the English invasions. That was the famous 100 Years' War. And you know that France will be liberated, saved, I mean thanks to the arrival of a young lady who received some divine voices from God and Saint Catherine, and those voices told her to that her mission was that she had to put out the English from France. She was, you know her? Joan of Arc, Jeanne d'Arc. And thanks to her, Paris and France will be saved. From the time, of course, those mansions belonged to rich and noble families. Today, most of those rooms situated just under the slate roof belong to the students, because they are very, very cheap. On the left side, you see Avenue d'Iéna, Iéna Avenue, and just above 16th District. So you see here the buildings, especially luxurious, very beautiful. Here you've got many agencies, offices, not many flats, because the prices are really too important. You know, if you want to buy... So still here, the Iéna Avenue, you, for example here, especially on the left, you will see you have a building with a gate in front, here around number 3. And you know that France has had some problems with this country a few months ago. I think that the United States had to. So here is the Iran. Is it? That's the famous Eiffel Tower. So we're passing on this Iéna Bridge. You will see once again the River Seine with on the left many companies for the Bateau Mouche, built by the same architect as the tower, Gustave Eiffel. So two parts, one for the traffic and the second for the metro. And here the Eiffel Tower. So we're turning right, we're going to turn around and we're going to join the monument facing you. So, you see the Eiffel Tower, this building was made between 1887 and 1889. And in fact, the architect Gustave Eiffel built it for two reasons. The first reason was for the International World Fair we had here in Paris in 1889. So the International World Fair was the time when you had to exhibit the new techniques. Here it was the time of the iron techniques. You see that, for example, the Eiffel Tower is only made of iron. You've got some things like 15,000 metallic sections in it. So first, the exhibition, the International World Fair. The second reason, in fact, was to commemorate the centennial of the French Revolution. The French Revolution happened in 1789. This building was made in 1889, so 100 years old after. So you see the organization of the tower. You've got three different levels. You've got the first level, which is a space reserved for the tourists. You've got a panoramic view. You've got different shops, small restaurants, many things like this. On the second floor, you've got a big restaurant, which is the Jules Verne restaurant. It's a good one. Any possibilities? I mean, two possibilities. First, you can take the lifts. You've got the red and yellow lift that are situated in the pillars of the tower. Or if you prefer, if you're a sportsman or sportswoman, you can climb the steps. But if you want to reach the last floor by steps, you will have to climb 1,753 steps. 1753 steps. But there is a legend saying that to reach the last floor, you have 1,789 steps. This number that would correspond, I mean, with the date of the revolution, 1789. But and here they try to take the building. So you see, for example, on the columns, you've got all those bullet holes. So on the left, you see you've got the perspective with the Eiffel Tower and the Trocadero. If you want to have to make a picture, not a long time. Characteristical from that time. It's quite more or less the same as Versailles. And just behind, you see you've got the chapel of the Invalids, which was made by the same architect as Versailles. And it's precisely here, under the chapel, that today you find the grave of Napoleon III. Napoleon I. So Napoleon I has got a special grave, which is made of 7 different coffins. Some in mahogany, some in iron, some in lead, some in ebony. And all around you see you've got some cannons. And if you pay attention on the entrance where you have the gate, you see on the piers on the left and on the right, on both sides, you've got statues. Here in the 7th district, which is also an administrative district for the city. Here on the right, you see you've got Air France, of course, the French airline company. That's the terminal. And just on the right, at the corner, that's what we call in France le Quai d'Orsay, Orsay Quay, but this corresponds in fact to the Foreign Affairs Ministry, I mean the French diplomacy. That's an historical monument. So it commemorates this this alliance, French-Russian alliance. And you know that at that time this alliance was very important. That's the reason why many ladies, noble ladies, decided to, that's the reason why they gave one part of their jewels, a necklace or bracelet, many things like this, that are today, those jewels today are in the metallic arches for the bridge. Alexander III Bridge, fashion pictures, you know, for the fashion catalogue and so on, which is about, and these hieroglyphics tell us the life of a place where the deputies are working. That's the French Parliament. Over there, that's also the Louvre, and here you've got the Floral Pavilion. That's the place where the Queen Marie Antoinette used to live before being beheaded. So everything that you will see on the left here, that's the Louvre precisely. So the Louvre, you know, formerly it was not a museum, it was just the king's residence when the kings were living in Paris. before Louis XIV, before the transfer to Versailles. And that's one of the oldest monuments of the city. And today, after the revolution, they transformed it into a museum, and today that's one of the most important museums in the world, and it will be the most important museum as soon as the famous pyramid will be opened. You know that the pyramid was inaugurated a few days before. This pyramid, have you heard about the pyramid?
Yeah.
Yes, no? That's a pyramid only made of glasses, and it was made by the American rooms, 17 kilometers of gallery, and if you stand only 1 second in front of each masterpiece of art, the people say that you need 1 month and a half without any stop to visit the museum. Still the Louvre here on the right. On the left, sorry. On the right here is the place dedicated to business and trade. So that's the place where you have most of the great department stores, like for example this one on the left, which is the Samaritan department store. And on the right, here is the city island. This ancient part of Paris, in glass windows. You've got the marvelous stained glass windows from the 13th centuries with many colors. You've got a special effect when you get inside. And you've got also this spire. Here, that's the first example that we had in France for the Gothic architecture. Sorbonne University, right, the Sorbonne. And that's also a very active place. That's a place where you have many restaurants, Greek restaurants and so on, cafes, and you've got a special animation, many students. Cathedral of Paris, dedicated to the Virgin. And you see here the special architecture with the facade, with the doorways, the King's Gallery and the stained glass windows. So we're going to stop here and I will make...
How far is it to walk now?
187 feet.
That's a little far. It's like 18 stories.
Perfect day.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Is this all? Okay.
Ganda eh. Ayun yun eh.
I got these girls for free seat.
You've got 3 round arch windows. Those belong to King's private bedroom. That's the place where he was living. Then, you see, you understand the organization. Pay attention now facing you, because you've got 3 main avenues, like this. Beginning of the star. And those 3 avenues converge down. Yes! So, here is the king's bedroom. Here you've got the minister's wings. No, the minister's wings. Also, the marble is a cold. So when you walk on it, it's cold for the feet. So, the courtiers did not look at the trees. They looked in that direction. They looked at the Sun King. They looked at the Sun King to see who was here. And then you've got also here this ceiling. Here you've got the diamond. Then you have 3 faces, 4 faces on the border representing the forces. Here that's the end of the king's great support. And here you've got one of the opposition. Then you can have a view of the border that is finished on the side. And you can understand how wide is the palace.
Attention! Tiens un morceau. Il y a un américain derrière toi.
Going to take us back to London. Hello, James.
Hello, James.
Pleased to meet you. And so last time, you know, we took the double-decker. Able to understand them, read them and understand them. Is Flights coming from the United States and the hotels included, except for Israel. They have hotels included on arrival and departure. So I think I have a good look at the white cliffs. I mean, they are comparably wide. You see there the fillings again when we came down. You know, it's coming down a little. So then, where we have the zero meridian, it's not used anymore because of the pollution in London. It's also too small. It's a museum now. It's open to the public. Vatican in Rome, and then you have the Cul-de-sac round the corner. We just got a glimpse of it with the T-clipper, and also Gypsy Moth 4 is a small little thing around now. Getting into the end of Kensington Gardens. Embassies. The embassies are actually on first only on the left and then left and right. Very interesting museum. So they're all happily united.